stop it. Stop banking on a Christian society. Bank on the Christian home within you, that Jesus Christ is greater. And look what Daniel did in the midst of an unchristian society. God can work miracles, okay? God can work miracles in the midst of all that is going on, okay? So don't get swayed to the left, to the right, to and fro. Focus in and hold fast to our Savior during these moments, okay? Now we come back here to Daniel. They change his name. Then they also change his education. It says here when we look a little bit further that they look to instruct him in their ways. If we check out in Daniel 1 verse 3 through 5, that they taught them the language and literature of the Chaldeans or the Babylonians, okay? They taught them the language and the literature. So they went and retaught their history. They re-educated them. So they literally got picked for a program. So let me read Daniel 1, 3 through 5 real quick. It says, then the king instructed this guy who I can't pronounce his name, okay, the master of the eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but good-looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand, who had the ability to serve in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies, of the wine which he drank, and 3 years of training. 3 years of training for them, so that at the end of that time they might serve before the king. So here's Daniel and his friends getting selected for the highest program of this new empire. Or not new empire, but now it's new for them. Now, king's sons were picked from this, all right? Nobles were picked from this, and some from the children of Israel. So you had to be at the very top of the echelon to be picked for this. So now Daniel, here all these negative things are being happened, and he's picked, and now he's re-educated. Again, he's stripped, trying to be stripped of God and everything that was about God in his life. And then they try to change his food as well. Now let me go back to the education part, because now he has to learn astrology. Now he has to learn about the gods of the Chaldeans, or the gods of the Babylonians. Now he has to learn about the fortune telling. He has to learn secular things that go directly in opposition of what he believes. Now, do you see Daniel opposing this education? He doesn't. He doesn't. Why? Because God used that education to bring God to the Babylonians. God used it to bring it. Now, I'd never encourage people to go study all these different religions and go study all this other stuff. Study the one true God. But if there's a situation where, like Daniel was, where you are forced to do this, God's grace will be upon you to do what he's called you to do. God has a purpose and a plan. We don't want to just seek things out for the sake of seeking things out of curiosity. But if God has placed you in the middle of something to where you have to be learning some things like this, then God will grace you to go through it properly. God will grace you to go through it properly. So again, these are some of the bad things that happen. But let's now flip the script a little bit and realize that now, let's look at the good now that happened with Daniel. Because now, Daniel, who was a slave, okay, now gets taken and now is chosen. And he has been told, now this is the society that he lived in, right? He said, choose the people that are good looking, without blemish. Choose the people that are strong, the people that are quick, that are smart, that are wise, that are quick to learn things and have the ability to understand. That's what we just read here in Daniel 1, 3 through 5. So Daniel was at the top and was picked in the highest degree program of the land. Now think about that, man. That's quite a privilege. That's quite a privilege to go from the lowest in society to have the privilege to start moving to the very top of society, to be with the king's sons. Okay, and learning side by side with them. What a privileged position that was that Daniel and his friends were chosen for. That sounds like favor to me. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a lot of favor. And then for 3 years getting trained, being educated, to be serving the king in his own courts. Okay, that's favor. All right, and they're given nice